Oh my God. And people taking pictures of you. People taking pictures of you. What the fuck is that? How are you gonna take a picture of somebody on the subway or wherever without their permission? And my friend, some Korean dude, actually took a picture with her. He was in it. He took like a selfie with her. And she was like, he tried to be slick about it, like he was hiding it. Like, she was like, I mean, the nerve, I swear. And I would be on the lookout for that. Like, sometimes I'd be on the train with her, and like, you see like Korean people talking to each other and then looking and then talking and looking, because she had braids, she had long braids in, and they would look at her, they would talk to her, and they would look and they would talk, and then all of a sudden simultaneously both their hands would go in their purse and a camera phone would come out. I was like, if these bitches raise up this camera phone, I swear to God, I'm putting my hands in front of your face. I'm putting my hands in front of your face. They will literally think that they're being slick and take photographs of you without your permission on public transit. What kind of shit is that? What kind of shit is that? Like, completely invasive and disrespectful. Like, I can't live in a society where people are that invasive and disrespectful. Like, what the fuck? At least in Japan, like, people are more considerate and they don't invade your space to try to do that shit. And in Japan, you can't take a picture without hearing the camera click. Like, there's no silent, you can't take a silent picture in Japan. Like, none of the phones are capable of that because people have been too shady. So, you know when some motherfucker's taking a picture. Ugh. I mean, I feel like some Korean people are pissed off. Like, while I was on my way out, or like before President Park was like, yeah, we're gonna like make new textbooks for you guys, and we're just gonna talk about how great we are and how great my dad is, and like not talk about anything else. And Korean people were like, Jacob, what? You can't like brainwash people. And so they were like protesting, and they're also protesting something else. They were like protesting like at City Hall. They were like hoses and buses, and like thousands of people showed up. And I had never experienced that. I've never experienced rebellion my entire time in Korea. I just thought that like generally it wasn't even a thing. Like, even like dealing with people who are like, oh, I'm punk rock, I'm this, I'm that, are just, I mean, it's like not a way of life. It's really just kind of like an attitude or a way to take pictures, but they're not really rebellious, because rebellion is not, you can't be a rebellious minded person and like sort of exist in Korea. I don't think you can. I'm sure there are rebellious people in Korea, but I just don't know how they function. I don't know how they function in the workplace. I don't know how they function in the school. I don't know how they function socially. Like, if you're a woman who challenges like gender norms, like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, especially since I was talking about how everything has to be perfect and cute and stuff, and there's this obsession with purity. When there's like fuck motels in every block, and yes, there are fuck motels. They call them love motels, but I don't know why, because people don't go there to spoon. They go there for other things. Just so much hypocrisy and so much fear of yourself. So much fear of sexuality, so much fear of everything. And like, you can't be happy in that environment. And nobody is. Very few people are. At the time that I was there, though, like, the student body president or something came out as a lesbian at Seoul National University, which to me is so hardcore, because just like, there's still many Korean people who feel like Korean people aren't gay. That's a Western thing. There are no gay Korean people. And if somebody's gay, like, you should like report it. Like, there's schools, I saw something online about the school who like put out a questionnaire about like, do you think anybody in your class is gay? If they are, like, what class are they in, and what punishment do you think we should give them? So like, coming out in that kind of society is like hardcore. Sometimes you see random Korean people who give no fucks, but most people give lots of fucks and are very miserable because of it. And a lot of them, for that reason, try to make other people feel miserable, and that's shitty. There was a movie that I was watching where the Korean guy had another guy tied up to like a pole, like a post in like a warehouse, and he was tied up and he was gagged, and this other guy was like flicking out his eyes, so he was bleeding from the eyes. So the guy was bleeding from the eyes, like, oh, I'm bleeding from my eyes, you know, like in Korean, I guess. Like in the next scene, after this guy flicked out this dude's eyes, he lights up a cigarette and started smoking it, and they blurred the cigarette. Like, this dude just flicked out these dudes' eyes. He's bleeding from his eyes, and you're cool with that. Like, that's cool. But he lights up a cigarette, and that needs to be blurred. Or, like, in another scene, like, somebody would be stabbed to death, and they'd be on the floor, and there'd be, like, blood. And then the next scene, you have the person with the knife, and they blur out the knife. Like, but you just showed me an open wound. Well, a dead corpse, like, as opposed to a live corpse. But, like, you showed me a corpse. You showed me a pool of blood. But I can't look at a knife blade. I can't look at a lit cigarette. But I could look at bleeding from the... Like, this kind of arbitrary, strange shit they blur out. And I just found it kind of funny, the kind of things that, like, Korean censors would blur out. They even blur out babies' nipples. Like... that kind of disturbs me. Like, don't sexualize a baby. Ain't nobody looking at a baby's nipples like that. Like, why can't you can't even look at baby's nipple? Like, not even like you would want to, but just the fact that you would blur out baby nipples, I just think that's inappropriate. That's like bringing a, 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 a perspective to babies that does not need to be brought.